Our next question sent to CornyDriveThru@gmail.com from, what is the actual name here? Stellar Justin Lopez in Brooklyn.
Oh, well, that explains it.
Now, this is a topic that has come up several times recently, although there's been a recent change here. This first email was sent a day ago, and then there's an update. What's going on, Jim and Brian? I discovered your show on YouTube at the start of the pandemic, and it's become my favorite weekly show. I look forward to it more than Raw, AEW, and SmackDown.
Well, that's saying you look forward to going to your dentist more than, but go ahead.
Last week, Andrade confirmed he asked for his release from WWE due to not being booked since October, where he lost a match on Raw to Keith Lee. He was denied his release and then went public on Twitter. Suspiciously, this weekend, his fiancée, Charlotte Flair, WWE's biggest female star, was removed from the WrestleMania poster.
Oh!
Do you guys see this as WWE being petty? Vince has been known not to be high on him due to him not mastering the English language. Paul Heyman, when in charge of Raw, pushed him, and Triple H was high on him in NXT. He's a former NXT champion. And then, like I said, there's an update. He got his release. Charlotte is still off the Mania-related posters and advertising. And I believe the update on his release, too, is there is no non-compete. He can go work wherever he wants tomorrow.
Well, now, wait a minute. If he can't speak English, how are he and Charlotte talking to each other?
I think he could speak English, but maybe not as well as, a wrestler born in America.
Not as well as the average Englishman. Yeah, you don't have a simile to go to there.
Maybe that's why it works. They can't communicate with each other.
I've never met the guy. Have seen very little of him. He hasn't been presented as one of their top stars, from what I can tell, obviously, especially if they didn't book him the last 6 months. Did he have heat with the office, or are they just like, we just don't have anything for this guy to do? Do we know this?
I have not heard that he had heat. Obviously, he had been getting a nice size push. He was managed by Zelina Vega, who they did release. They enforced that non-compete, I believe.
Oh, that was over the twitching and twittering and all that stuff.
Yeah, that was over her wanting to keep her third-party deals and led to the Screen Actors Guild talking to her. But the only thing I had heard, as was kind of said here in the email...
Just the English.
Well, just that he's one of these guys that all of a sudden Vince just decides he doesn't have it. Despite Triple H being high on him or anyone else, Vince decided this guy doesn't have it.
Well, I don't see then if I'm running a company and I've got buyer's remorse on somebody on the roster, why did we sign that guy? Or we don't know what to do with this guy, or what? Okay, let him go. Give him his release. What difference does it make? They're past the point thinking that anybody is going to make a difference in AEW because they've seen what's going on there. It is what it is. And I don't know that anybody would say that Andrade would make a significant difference anyway, even if it was a good program. Why not? But why punish, his Charlotte, who is a star, if this is what this is, or maybe they just fucked up and released an unapproved poster and they want to do something else. Who knows? We don't know yet. But I don't see why you would punish one of your top girls because a regular middle card at best guy that you've got 20 of that you didn't want to use wanted to get released. That doesn't make any sense to me, but but that's,
But Vince has been known to be petty. So, I mean, it's not unreasonable to think that all of a sudden Charlotte, who got screwed over in her feud with Lacey Evans because Lacey got pregnant, and now all of a sudden her fiance is publicly declaring that he wants a release, and next thing you know, she's pulled off the posters. Now, she is filming a movie. Isn't she making a remake of Walking Tall?
Oh, God, as I read that, and that's another thing. As much as I like Charlotte, no, she looks nothing like Buford Pusser. Can they stop remaking established things and changing the fucking stories?
You know, the one good thing is every time they remake Walking Tall, they get another wrestler to play Buford.
The only time that they made a movie about the actual Buford Puzzler, Joe Don Baker wasn't a wrestler.
That's right.
And then every time they remake it, they change the stories, but now it's a wrestler. Anyway, back to, I don't know. The whole thing sounds silly to me, but if Andrade don't want to be there, I don't know why they'd want to keep him. And, poor Charlotte, but that's why they encourage their talent to date and fuck around and etc. instead of the age-old guys go find a rat. Because now that's a, horrible thing to do. But the girls used to come into the business with their significant other already. And then the guys stayed away. And most of the time that worked. Every once in a while, as we've talked about, there was the exception. But now that they're just encouraging their guys and girls to date so that the guys won't go out and get in trouble fucking around with rats, then they're going to have to expect all kinds of shit like this. And also, can you imagine how miserable it is when people break up and they're both still there in the locker room? What the fuck? I used to have plenty enough drama with a bunch of guys. I didn't need any kind of drama like that. You never had drama with the guys when they broke up with their favorite rat.
No, and of course you always get heat every time you use the term rat nowadays. It's kind of outdated, but...
And I've actually talked to a couple of my favorite rats in the last few years who said that they're pissed off that they couldn't just be left alone for following their favorite pastime, which was being rats.
Did Vince McMahon ever use the term rat in front of you?
Well, yes.
I mean, when you said the attitude used to be go find a rat, and you've talked in the past, I mean, Jim Barnett certainly had that attitude. Different wrestling promoters had that attitude. Did Vince McMahon have that attitude?
Well, no, he didn't come out and say, he didn't do like I did to Smoky Mountain, have a meeting with the baby faces because they weren't fucking enough of the girls and everybody was pissed. The heels were having to take up most of the slack there. But no, everybody in the wrestling business used the term rat, but it may be just a joke about somebody or an aside or, where's so-and-so? He's out feeding the rats some cheese or whatever. So it's not like I ever had any long dissertations with Vince McMahon about the subject of arena rats, but anybody who was ever in the fucking wrestling business has used that phrase on numerous occasions. It's a wrestling term.
Ron Fuller has said that when he went to Australia, Jim Barnett had something called the Fart Club, which was fuck a rat today.
Yes.
He was encouraging
he would nominate during the team meetings, whether they be in the Omni or Australia or whatever, he would nominate one of the more entertaining promos in the locker room to give the rat report. And then, like old Sally's upset because Jimmy Golden couldn't stay overnight last week in Adelaide or whatever the case, right? Just entertainment.
Yeah, to throw Jimmy Golden under the bus there.
Well, I'm just... Because I think Robert Fuller was one that used to be asked to give the rat report a lot because he was so fucking entertaining. But no, it's terminology, for heaven's sake. In rodeo, they call them buckle bunnies.